Okay, let's go. 101. Yep. Wow. How about that? That's different. Here we go. Okay, on the Thursday. Yes, that is true. Yep. The word buddy I would not use, but your choice of words, not mine. Yep, well aware. Well aware. Okay, folks, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and then we're rolling. Yep, no question about it. LIVE. Yes, yes, and yes. Good afternoon. There's our moderators all checking in. Folks, this is the real news. Real news. We have a busy. How about what's going on in New York? I'm so envious. There's Danielle and Catherine. Oh, so envious. And the mayor's trying to gut it out. I mean, it's absolutely not happening, but whatever. All right, 3 minutes out. Now I checked the latest forecast, and what I'm looking at for the patrolling of the road is all right. It is going to rain at 2 o'clock. That's not what I'm concerned about. 8 o'clock, the rain moves in tonight. Possible that we do an early road patrol. Very, very possible. 7-ish. Yep. And then we'll just, see how it goes. All right. We are live in 2 minutes. 2 minutes out. 2-minute warning. What a wild. Governor agreed. What else could go wrong? He goes on vacation for 2 weeks. Wow. Must be nice. Imagine that. Things must be rolling along. Huh. Things must be much better than we thought they were. Except they're not. Yep. How about that video I shared on the subscriber page? That was in front of the Christmas tree shop this morning. How about that? Great job by Beverly. The number one, the car is ablaze, and then number two, boom, you see it exploding. Wow. That's pretty good video. Subscriber only. All right, we are. What a busy morning it has already been. Yep. There we go. There's the star of our show from yesterday, boy, folks, David Sammartino. I mean, he took it to another level yesterday, for crying out loud. All right, we're live in 1 minute. 1 minute. Un momento. Yep. That was pretty wild in North Kingstown. You got to see the cartel at work. All right, we are waiting for our cue, and then we're going to begin. We shall begin on this Thursday, final week of September. And there it is at 106. Good afternoon, folks. You're listening. This is, for better or worse, this is the real news at Juan, and it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials in Garden Center. Stop in and see them, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I believe they are Rhode Island's number one garden center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Number one. Number two, then Mums and Kale are spectacular. They also have fall decorations, pumpkins, straw bales, corn stalks, gourds, Indian corn. Maybe you're going to see some friends or family, or stop by someone's home to watch a football game. Why not? Why not, instead of bringing a cheap bottle of red wine, Merlot, more probably, why not bring them a pumpkin? Bring them, you know, cornstalk or straw bales. They have a lot. I see far more people are decorating their homes and embracing autumn. They also have native vegetables. That's what people want. Native vegetables. They also have local honey. Remember, this is the ideal time to plant because it's cooler at night, and they have everything you need. Nice trees and shrubs. Add a little greenery, a little more privacy for your domicile. Folks, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Look for them, and they have a great Facebook page that I share. Now, check out, someone said to me, I can't get over the video of the Chad Brown task force. I agree. Now, I know people are then, well, what happened? Well, they're investigating. They don't exactly just come out. People watch too much TV. Doesn't happen that way. But DePietro.com, where you can see that we're the only ones that have footage of that, plus a lot of other exclusive stories. We have more going up later today. And it's all brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Remember, lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. And they have the market at Coesit. They're open 7 days a week, the Coesit Inn. Now, I would like to, before I get into a lot of the news of the day, and I have mentioned our condolences go out to the Degnan family, and I'm very happy in a sense that I got a chance to meet this hero that passed away, David Patrick Degnan Jr. And here's how it reads. Again, our condolences go out to Miguel. He has a lovely family. Retired Providence Police Detective David Patrick Degnan Jr. passed away unexpectedly last Thursday, September 19th, at the age of 85. And this past spring, I was very happy. Got a chance to meet him, spend some time with him, with Deputy Chief O'Hara, and of course, his son, who is one of the backbones of the program, Miguel. Born in Providence, 1939, to David Patrick Sr., Marion Bell Russell. David grew up South Providence, graduated from Central, 1959, enlisted in the Army after basic training, stationed at Fort Hays, Columbus, Ohio in 1962. When returning to Fort Hays while on leave one weekend, the vehicle he was traveling in with two fellow Army buddies broke down, listen to this, on a rural road in Ohio. They walked half a mile to reach the nearest farmhouse where they could call Fort Hays to advise of their predicament so they would not be considered AWOL. There, he met his wife of 60 years, Sharon Ann Bing, who he married October 12th, 1963, 2 days after being transferred from active duty to the U.S. Army Reserves on October 10th. He was honorably discharged September 30th, 1967. So when their Jeep broke down, they go to the farmhouse to say, we need to use your phone so they don't think we're AWOL. And that's where he meets the person he marries. Dave and his new wife, Sharon, returned to their hometown in Providence, where in 1964 he joined the Providence Police Department. After serving several years in the patrol division, he told some great stories. We were with him at the Newport Creamery on Smith Street. He took night classes, studied for the detective exam so he could get on a day shift more conducive to family life. Studying paid off, promoted to the rank of detective. As detective, served several roles of the department, then serving on a task force. February 26, 1975. The other night, as we were live with the Providence Task Force, Chad Brown, it wasn't lost on me when I say, folks, that many times a lot of things can happen, go sideways, as they say. But February 26th, 1975, David was shot in the chest while participating in a drug raid Betsy Williams Drive, Edgewood section of Cranston. I know the street. That's where the Coffees lived. That's where Angelo Grilli lived, right down from St. Paul's Church. So drug raid, Betsy Williams, he gets shot in the chest, rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital, which isn't even there anymore. I always ride by there, right on Broad Street. That's where the chosen one, that's where the stork, that's where I was hatched, where he remained in intensive care for several weeks. The bullet lodged in his left lung, 1 inch from his heart. Doctors determined it to be more dangerous to remove the bullet than leave it. As such, David carried it with him for the rest of his life. Daily reminder of that day 49 years ago. His assailant posted bail, fled the country, never brought to justice. I didn't realize Governor Mckee was in charge. That actually he wasn't. It would have been Noel, I think, if I remember, somewhere in there. I think that would have been Governor Noel, I think. Now listen to this. After 2 years, David returned to light duty, served as a day shift detective in the juvenile department at the Central Station on Fountain Street, had not regained full use of his left arm due to the trauma caused by the bullet. He served in the juvenile department until his retirement, December of 1991, after 26 years of service. When I read that and learned that, all I think of is right now in the city of Cranston, where they have somewhere between 12 to 15 firefighters that are out, supposedly injured on duty, and one of them has been out full pay for 3 years. David Degnan working with a bullet in his left lung. David was awarded the Purple Heart by the Providence Police Department, presented by Mayor Cianci, November 23rd, 1997. In an odd twist of fate, Mayor Cianci was also the mayor of Providence the day David was shot. He received several commendations from the community resulting from his injury. Those included from the Greater Cranston Chamber of Commerce, American Legion, Policeman of the Year Award, that's the least they could do, from the Providence Central Lions Club, and the Law Enforcement Commendation Medal from the National Society of the Sons of American Revolution. Since his retirement, David has led a life of leisure, taking day trips with his wife, serving as an usher collector, St. Pius Church, engaging in several hobbies, most recently spending Sunday afternoons having lunch at Greg's restaurant with his 2 newest grandchildren, Muriel and Olivia. Preceded in death by his wife Sharon, David is survived by his sons Michael Patrick and his wife Anna of Rehoboth, and also Matthew Stanley of West Warwick. Further survived by 6 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren. So in lieu of flowers, the family requests donations be made in his name, and I'm going to make one, to the FOP Lodge No. 3 charity, Cops for Kids with Cancer. So Skeffington Funeral Home, and again, we salute David Patrick Degnan Jr., who passed away last Thursday. Folks, one of the reasons I wanted to mention that is because to me, it also, not only is Miguel such a valued member of the program, which he is, and such a dear friend, but as I mentioned, this past spring, I had the opportunity with Deputy Chief O'Hara to spend a couple hours in an afternoon, and the stories were just remarkable, especially, they used to, there's a lot of things of police. They used to have to, phone in that they had a suspect and they'd bring them over to where they were. It wasn't, that they didn't have everyone, it was the old, you were on foot patrol. Very different than road patrol, but I think but anyhow, condolences go out though to the Degnan family. Now, what I just read to you By the way, beautifully written obit. And then I'm going to talk about what was going on in real time today. But folks, this portion of the real news, and I want to welcome into the program as one of our valued sponsors, and it's Watson Materials. There they are, South County Trail, East Greenwich. Now, you can find them on Facebook or online. Online, you can also find them at watsonmulch.com. But you have to see what they offer, I believe, to fully appreciate it. It is true, the more people, and I love this picture they have, and I think I shared this on Facebook. As summer fades, fall approaches, perfect time to make the most of your outdoor space. And wait till you see what I like about this is you know what your outside looks like, but then you get a sense of what it could look like. Watson Materials, landscape, supply center. I mean, they have it all from landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone. Really remarkable and beautiful what it could do for your home or business, as a matter of fact. Watson Materials. You can call them 401-885-0600. You can also request a quote. But I believe what really shines through, especially when you see there are more people that are saying, I have this nice side yard, now I'm going to watch my football games out there, and I want to have set up, and people have a little mini kitchen and chairs and even a flat screen, the whole thing. Watson Materials, right there, South County Trail. Now, compared to what I just mentioned about a Providence detective who went on to continue to serve the Providence Police Department with a bullet lodged in his left lung, to who we have running the state right now, and that is Rhode Island Governor Dan Mckee. That there's several things about this. Number one, he has been in office since March of 21, when Queen Gina Raimondo, Commerce Secretary, has made national news calling for a third attempt on the life of President Trump, which is a real head scratcher. But nonetheless, Mckee came in March of 21, and he actually lost last September. He lost day of voting to Helena Foulkes. The only reason we are stuck, and I mean stuck, for now with Governor Mckee, folks, he's got 2 more years left. Who right now would say Rhode Island is better than it was 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago? Governor Mckee, this is what happens when you have someone who is the governor, who is in over his head, really doesn't know what to do. And I would say it's just the ultimate Peter principle, which is they could be fine at one level, but you bump them up to the next level and they're lost. Such as there could be someone who's a great high school football coach. There are people who are tremendous high school football coaches. Remember Notre Dame did that years ago? They experimented. And the guy was a disaster at the collegiate level. You have people that are great college coaches, and they can't make it in the NFL. As I have said in the past, I still hear from people. He was a great mayor of Cumberland. Could be the case. Other people, he was solid as lieutenant governor. I didn't really deal with him. Gina Raimondo wouldn't give him the time of day. Now we know why. Folks, this is bordering on malpractice, and I believe the Rhode Island Republican Party should be making much more of what's going on. And what I'm talking about is, number one, you have a very consequential presidential election right now, number one. Number two, you have a situation that the bridge is not only untenable, but it is impacting all different aspects of day-to-day. Yesterday, there was an explosion of manhole cover downtown Providence. Road Patrol Live. I have to go broadcast from downtown. I have to alert everyone what's happening. This was I don't know, 220, 215, right in that range. I'm trying to make my way 95 north. The traffic starts backing up at the Thurbers Avenue curve, almost into Cranston, for the traffic back all the way to 195 East. This is at 2:15 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. Total insanity. And he just glosses over it. But it's not that they don't have a plan. This isn't a rant about the plan of the bridge or lack. They don't have a plan. But this is what I'm talking about. I mean, that the mayor of East Providence knows something. Mayor De Silva told the Boston Globe he's very concerned on the weight, since they're taking down the old bridge, the weight on one. You have Hasbro, who very quietly, they meet with the governor of Massachusetts. They meet with the mayor of Boston, who's being wooed. Hasbro, $10 billion company. They were in Pawtucket making toys. That's not really what they do now. That's not their franchise. That's not the revenue stream, not the major part of it. Now it's animation and entertainment. And as they're meeting, the Hasbro executives are meeting with the mayor of Boston and the governor of Massachusetts. Mckee doesn't even know what's going on. And now you have this fight where Pawtucket is saying, well, you can build in the apex and you can't leave Pawtucket. And you have Mayor Smiley saying, well, why don't we move them to Providence? Like, it is all finger pointing and total cluster blank. And under this climate, and it's not your imagination, folks, look at the violence that is out there right now. Fall River just outlawed no more homeless encampments. Why don't we do that in Rhode Island? You can already see, those of you who watch Road Patrol, we're already seeing all the people that are just roaming around and they're waiting for the state. See, this is what happens. When the state says, we'll take care of your rent, we'll put you up, these people are just waiting around for that to happen. They're waiting for the first cold night. And they, what do they say? Where's my hotel voucher? So in the midst of all of this, Governor Mckee is now off on a 2-week vacation. That is after his disastrous media appearances where he stands on Channel 12 and says, all right, you got 5 minutes. Clock is running. 5 minutes and I'm walking off the set and we're doing it live. Like the Bill O'Reilly thing. We'll do it live. Then he does the same thing to Janik on Channel 10. 10 and 12 should actually call his bluff and preamp programming and just stay live with him. And then let him even, unplug his mic and walk off set. 2-week boy, must be nice. 2-week vacation right now. Who takes a vacation right now? I mean, I see people posting photos of, again, I get it. There's a lot of people, you go to Europe in September, but who travels a lot right now are retired people. They go on a cruise in the fall and, they enjoyed the summer and maybe they're already going down to wherever they're going to go for the wintertime and the snowbird. Like, that's who, yeah, but here's the problem. You're still the governor. And no one's even in charge. His staff is in charge. Hasbro, we want to meet with him. And then the Mckee, well, he's away on vacation. He's away on vacation now? I mean, I could see July or August. Well, when's he back? He's back in a couple weeks. A couple of weeks. How? Huh? Boy, the nerve. Folks, that is I'll tell you, that is so unacceptable. I get the whole thing of, hey, I get it. Everyone's entitled to vacation, recharge the batteries, the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. But, this isn't the time. You're dealing with a crisis situation. Those tow trucks are making a fortune 24/7 on the bridge. The bridge is still coming down. Then they pause the work. The crime, Mckee is trying to take guns away, so now we're having people stabbed to death each day. The state is in disrepair. Well, I'll deal with it when I get back. And by the way, and the vacation, from what I heard, is being paid for by people associated to get the contract for the bridge. So he didn't want to pass up a free vacation, the Chiseler. Folks, when you're talking about home improvement for your home or business, I want you to remember AJ Home Improvement, 401 323 9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They could do it all. If you're thinking of rehabbing your home or business, AJ Home Improvement, 401 323 9252. Maybe you have an unfinished basement. Maybe you have an unfinished garage. Maybe you'd like to turn your garage into a living space that more people are doing, and make that. I'm hearing more and more of people that are turning their garages into almost like a guest house for people that can stay and visit, or an in-law apartment, believe it or not. AJ Home Improvement, they can do that. Look for them on Facebook, 401 323 9252. And remember, a fresh coat of paint can change the dynamics of your home or business. AJ Home Improvement, 401 323 9252. I've heard Hasbro may hire them to build out their new space in Boston. The AJ Home Improvement, folks, 401 323 9252. Now, let's see. Kevin asked me. Kevin is the coach of a youth soccer team, apparently. I'm not sure if it's boys or girls. But anyhow, he sent an email and said they're looking for a place to do their little party at the end. And either he heard it or his wife heard me mentioning Kids Club on the Pike. So he sent me an email. What is this place you're talking about? Kevin, it's Kids Club on the Pike. They do birthday parties. Perfect space. You have to go online to appreciate it, indoor their Facebook page. Before and after school programs, summer camp, preschool programs. It is Kids Club on the Pike. First of all, it's immaculate, completely different than Chuck E. Cheese, where the kids, anytime my kids would go to Chuck E. Cheese, within a day, they'd be coughing, colds, the whole thing. It's not like that. They're located, Kids Club on the Pike. It's right on the Cranston-Johnston line. It's immaculate. It's a great space. They have a spot where it's like an old 50s diner where the kids could have whatever food they're having, whether it's, pizza or whatever, and then some ice cream. But then it's plenty of like playroom area. It's perfect for a birthday party, for a team gathering, anything like Kids Club on the Pike. After school type programs, preschool. They have rooms for little tiny children, 2, 3, 4 years old. And then they have Xboxes for maybe kids 11, whatever age. Kids Club on the Pike. You can call them 401 443 5336. But look for them on Facebook. And the website is excellent. Kids Club on the Pike RI, because it shows you with great video and pictures, everything. You get a full sense of it. But I believe, and I say that as a former youth coach, you're going to have the end of the year, they give out the medals or whatever type thing. But here, the kids, it's fun and it's clean, and it's not as chaotic as like Chuck E. Cheese, or it's much safer than Dave and Buster's. We had the situation, a group of young kids were being taken for a birthday party. They were accosted in the food court at Providence Place Mall. There were gang members involved. 2 of the kids got robbed. Like, what are you talking about? You can't go to Providence Place Mall at night. Bring in 8, 9-year-old kids. Kid was showing his friend how much money he had. A kid, snatched the money out of his hand walking through the food court. I mean, you can't do that. Kids Club on the Pike. Now, I just want to finish off. What you're seeing right now with Governor Mckee, I mean, this is ludicrous that is going on. It is absolutely ridiculous what is going on. And now he's on a 2-week vacation. That's what July and August was for. That's what July and August was for. What is so important that he has to go away? That no, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He did that in 21, right around Thanksgiving. But no, he feels he's entitled. He's entitled, despite everything going on. What with Governor Mckee right now, it is this attitude that he cops, which is like, yeah, we're going to talk to Hasbro, see what the ask is. Oh, what the ask is. What is it this time? You want to watch those jobs go over the border? They're about to. But I want to come back to the Boston Globe story. And you just heard on the radio, Dan McGowan, I didn't know that. They worked 3 months on that story with no end in sight. The Washington Bridge closure has upended life in parts of southern New England. 3 reporters, well, Dan McGowan's a great reporter, 2 others, and it's going to be on the front page of the Globe. And they talk about people leaving jobs because the traffic is so bad. People going out of business because no one will go into their business. And the part about it that is so unforgivable is Mckee just blows it off. Governor Mckee, his reaction is, hey, listen, I live in Cumberland, right near Pork Boy. I don't care about 195. That's the Dan Mckee message. I have the troopers drive me to the State House down 146, and Mckee's attitude is like, what are you, stupid? 146 is nowhere near the bridge. Governor Mckee was saying, don't you, what's wrong with you? I'm not impacted by it. Therefore, I don't care. The guy is just the worst. So, Twin Rivers down, $2 million per quarter, people losing their businesses, people leaving their jobs. He promised a day of reckoning. He's so arrogant, Mckee. I'm telling you. And then at least you have a rep from Massachusetts who's then talking about it and criticizing. And even saying, I think the governor's made some missteps. That's the understatement of the decade. Mckee's plan was, I want it done before my primary. Think about, you want to talk about selfish, self-absorbed. This is why I have no sympathy for he's such a thin skin. He really is. I'll just say, listen, the governor is just a total jerk. He's a thin-skinned doofus in over his head. And I don't say that mildly. But you can't deny it. He put out a bid that you have to finish it by September before his primary to finish the bridge, or it's 30,000 daily penalties for not finishing the job. Guess how many people bid on it? 0. Nobody bid on it. 30,000 daily penalties. What is that supposed to mean? You know what that means? Is everyone passed? No, we're not doing that. That you can't do that. That's not workable. That's not realistic. Why would we sign on to this? Why would we sign on to this? We know how long it takes. We know what it would take. And Mckee, I don't care if you have to work 20. Yeah, and we're talking about even if we were to work 24/7, it wouldn't be done in time. But Mckee declined to be interviewed. For 3 months, they worked on the story, as did Joe Allman, as did Peter Alviti of DOT. Now, I'll say this about Joe Allman, Charles St. Martin, Peter Alviti. I'm not saying, I mean, they would, at least I could say that Peter Alviti would have talked, but Mckee shut it down. Mckee shut it down also, as you heard Dan McGowan mention last hour, was 2 years ago, the Boston Globe editorial board endorsed Helena Folks in the primary, and Mckee will never let them live it down. But the part that the part that I think is very significant about this is some of the quotes of East Providence Mayor Bob De Silva, where he has concern about this is De Silva. My biggest fear is, God forbid, something happens to the other span. De Silva acknowledged it's difficult to imagine the bridge reopening before 2027. But if the state gets a contractor in place, it'll shed this light at the end of the tunnel. And a big part of this now is just everything on the one span. So you have the mayor of East Providence saying, my biggest fear is, what if something happens to the other span? And Mckee just blows it off. Oh, I'm not worried about it. But here's the thing about Governor Mckee. We know you're not worried about it. You've already proven you're not worried about it. We know you. Well, I'm not worried about it. He's not worried about anything. And the Tuesday thing of going on Channel 10 with Dan Janik and going on Channel 12 and using the same bad talking points that were prepared by him and his staff. We're juggling a lot of balls. You know what is such an insulting line? Building the bridge, safety is the most important thing, as opposed to what? Like, what? Why would that even be in the equation? Like, of course, safety. Safety is that, but it's such a declaration of the obvious. You know, that's like if you're making a parachute, well, safety is the most important thing. Yeah, no kidding. Building the bridge, well, safety is the most important thing. Okay. That, I mean, kind of like, to me, that's granted. If you're paving something, well, making sure that it's flat is a huge priority. Like, of course it is. But I can't believe that even has to be stated. Are we assuming too much? Are we assuming too much that safety is the top priority? Wow. 2-week vacation, this guy. Folks, this portion of the program, now you hear me, well, see me out there, and it's not your imagination. We're seeing crime. We're seeing crime pop up all different places. Governor Mckee continues. Folks, you're seeing, look at yesterday, that traffic stop in North Kingstown. I mean, here's the thing. Years ago, there was things of, some of the usual places where there would be trouble. But now it's really spreading everywhere. That's why I implore you to visit Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Post Road in Warwick. You talk to George on Fridays. Folks, arm yourself. You have a right. You're a business owner. It's not your imagination. People are just, I don't have an explanation for it, but they're just going off. And I also want to remind you and warn people that Governor Mckee, Mr. Vacation, Governor Vacation is about to implement that illicit drugs will be legal in the state with the safe injection center. You're going to have a lot more people that like to use meth and heroin and cocaine and crack. They're going to gravitate into the state because suddenly it's legal. My point is, if you think it's going to get increasingly more dangerous, stop by Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Defend yourself and your family and your business, or if you own a firearm, pop in there. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, Post Road in Warwick. Well, folks, good afternoon. This is the Real News at 1. I wish I did have some good news to offer. Right now, we just, this is, what are we giving you? We're giving you the real news. The real news of what's going on. That's what is provided. And I also did want to mention that, why is it Mayor De Silva, I'm not convinced he's being straightforward with everybody. Governor Mckee, 2 of his biggest allies are 2 people that have the biggest problems. One is the city of Pawtucket, Hasbro, they don't want to be there. They don't want to, Hasbro, this is like the thing of like, it's not you, it's me. And Governor Mckee, well, you have to stay in Pawtucket. They years ago, they were hinting they wanted out. And now Raimundo's out. And as I said to Dan McGowan, the governor of Massachusetts met with Hasbro, and the mayor of Boston met with Hasbro, and they met the CEO of Hasbro before Mckee and his team did. And folks, that is inexcusable. That if you were a private company, Dan Mckee, in a way, the governor is kind of a sales rep for the state. If he worked for a private company, he'd be terminated because of the Hasbro account. If you ever watch Mad Men, they get a call. Lucky Strike is talking to, Gray or another ad company, and Lucky or so-and-so, they're talking to McCann. They might be leaving. How do you know that? I have a buddy over there, said they're working on the pitch. Mckee, they didn't even know. It's so inexcusable. And as I've mentioned, and I spoke with the leader of a very successful business person locally that is shaking their head. Like this person was telling me, it's such amateur hour. And now they're scrambling and, listen, they've been in, all right. So years ago, Hassenfeld had started Hasbro, started in Pawtucket. It doesn't mean they have to stay there forever. For some reason, Governor Mckee thinks that, and the mayor of Pawtucket is trying to argue that. And I get it. He was all in trying to help the Paw Sox. Mayor Grabian. And Mckee, his reaction is, I'm off on vacation for the next 2 weeks. I mean, it's like comical. I can't. It's hard to understand the rationale. You know why? Because there is no rationale. There's no rationale. Look at ICE Boston, arrested Salvadorian gang member, charged assault and battery. Folks, it's not your imagination. There's more and more of these every day. You know what else is happening right now? This is another one. It's not your imagination. The amount of sexual assaults is going up. When we're out on road patrol, those of you that watch, now, when we hear of that, we don't go and cover it because that's not the type of person we want to highlight. They're the victim. So you want to be sensitive. There's several categories that we don't go and cover. One is self-harm, unless they're like up on a bridge or an overpass, or the police are surrounding the house because they have a weapon or something like that. We don't really cover that. We don't cover if there are, children involved, unless it's something, again, very drastic that's affecting an area. Maybe neighbors are being evacuated or something. But there's just a huge amount of sexual assaults. So now I've heard some speculation. It's not being covered enough. And so I'm not sure what to do about it because I'm sensitive. The reason we don't cover it is because you're sensitive about who the victim is. But at the same time, it's not getting out there. But between the guy they caught walking naked around the walking path, and then there's more sexual assaults in our area from people that are from foreign lands who don't speak English. And I don't hear public officials talking about it. I don't hear anything like that. And I don't have an answer on why we don't. Because I believe there should be awareness on something like that. Because from what I understand, there were several women that someone contacted me. It happened to her cousin. And the cousin found out that the area where this happened, there were numerous incidents like this, but it's not being reported. Folks, this portion of our program, Stan contacted me. Stan has a problem with his heel and heard me mention Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. And Stan, I encourage you to go and see them, 401, or call them 949-3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. If you're listening right now on this Thursday, Greenville Foot and Ankle, they're right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Beautiful space, by the way. They take all health insurance, digital x-ray on site. Foot pain is not normal and should not be ignored. Instead, Greenville Foot and Ankle. And you are talking about 3 board-certified podiatrists. They know what they're doing. Whether it's Dr. Colanino, Dr. Rhoda, Dr. Batty, go with the expert. Start treatment immediately. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Call them. 401-949-3220. Maybe you have some form of a skin condition. Maybe sometimes there are people, they sprain their ankle and they don't even realize it. All types, anything. If you're having problems with your feet, it really cuts into your quality of life. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Well, folks, good afternoon. Now, I did want to mention, I am envious what you're seeing play out in New York. Well, if you've been watching it or listening, I mean, it is, I'm looking at this guy. Man approached woman on bike path fully nude. I mean, what is wrong with people? Who does 66-year-old guy? Tom Belanger. Several incidents, Cumberland and Lincoln. Sherry Stable from Woonsocket, walking on the bike path, exposed himself. It was a traumatic experience. I looked up, a man came walking out of the woods. I freaked out, turned away, called the police. At the same time, he drove by me on a bike. It was specific. He always got trash bags on it and his water bottle on there. Oh, they have a picture of his bags and his bike. Charged with indecent exposure. Of course it should. This is unacceptable. Other women may have had similar experience. Now, but other people are saying they believe that this is a custom in South American countries. On the first Monday of the month, it's a tradition. Otherwise, you get stuck with bad luck. Older men walk naked on bike paths. Now, here's the thing. I am unfamiliar with that tradition. Whatever countries has that. Now, the one thing I do know is we don't have that in this country. So, how about in Massachusetts? Question 4 could legalize psychedelic substances in Massachusetts. Boy, that's just what we need. Yeah, here it is. Man accused of sexually assaulting nursing home resident. A Hasbro headquarters at Apex, Pawtucket leaders scramble. What a total embarrassment. I mean, it's just an embarrassment. So, and then the Providence guy, I remember this case. He got 45 years. Well, that's what he's sentenced to. It doesn't mean he's going to do that. Killed his estranged wife, 2017. I remember this case. He's from, I don't know where he's from. Bosco, Tumwaka. Convicted of June. Domestic second degree murder. He's out in 12 to 15. 44-year-old Manharo Nazumba. The children found their mother, his ex, dead inside a closet, reporting her missing. No, I haven't seen her. Such a nutcase. Folks, but these you know, what how did that guy even end up here? They're coming from countries that even, you know, I consider myself somewhat well-traveled, it's countries you've never even heard of. Now, I do want to mention, police determined bomb threat at Miriam to be not credible. I did know about it. I'll tell you what, I didn't cover it because I spoke to someone. We didn't think it was credible. And my thought was, there's enough anxiety that people have when they have a family member in the hospital. I'm not faulting the other media, but I want to share with you why I didn't go and cover it, why we didn't go live. There's enough anxiety if you have a family member in the hospital. If it was credible, that's different. But early on, I believe somebody saw something scribbled in a bathroom. I'll just say that those never pan out. I know they have to take precaution. I know it's a school. I've yet to hear of either a student that shoots up a school or someone that whatever, poses a threat or blows up a building, that they went in ahead of time and scribbled in the bathroom in the men's room. I mean, I've never heard of that. I fully get they have to take the precaution. I understand that. I'm not arguing that. But I didn't go live because as soon as I found it really wasn't seemingly credible, then I thought it could just bring anxiety to people who have family members in Miriam. So that I want you to know that. We were aware of it. One thing I like, folks, with Road Patrol is, we know about things. That's all I ask. And the people that I want to make sure we know about things. If we know about something, we don't go, that's different. But we got to know about it. Now, what I also want to remind you is if you need to know about something, you need to know about time for a vehicle or trading in a vehicle. Valari Motors, Volvo Sales and Service, quality pre-owned vehicles, largest selection of Volvos in Rhode Island, Park Avenue in Cranston. Great prices, great vehicles, great service. Valari Motors in Cranston, New England's #1 dealer in used pre-owned Volvo Sales and Service. Look for them on Facebook and also online, ValariMotors.com. Now, stop it and see the owner. Say hello to him. Paul Staskavich and his great mechanic, Steven. They'll take your vehicle, trade in your vehicle. Valari Motors in Cranston. Remember Paul, he lives in the city. He owns a business in the city, and he's running for office in the city. Paul Staskavich, Valari Motors, Cranston Citywide Council. Local businessman, business owner in the city of Cranston. He wants to get involved. He is getting involved. I like that. Valari Motors. Now, let's see. Tim sent me an email. Tim is seeing the hurricane about to hit Florida. Tim apparently has some branches he's worried about. Tim asked me, who is it that I recommended for tree service? JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service, Tim, and everybody else. 401-441-0154. JD, it's pretty easy to remember. JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. I share their Facebook page. Get those branches trimmed now before some of these storms that are down south hit our way. But I want to just briefly mention, boy, the situation with Florida's on alert right now. Wow, that does look like a serious storm. Serious storm, as a matter of fact. But some other headlines. Israel prepares for potential ground invasion of Lebanon. What is happening under Biden-Harris? But the New York City mayor indicted on bribery and fraud charges. Campaign contribution scheme. Agents search residents. They went off. They went to the mayor's mansion, Gracie Mansion, which is on the Upper East Side. I think it's in either the upper 80s or the upper 90s on the Upper East Side. They showed up there this morning like they were doing a normal raid on any criminal. There's a lot of bad blood between the mayor of New York and the feds going after him. The feds don't go after someone unless they feel that they can, that they have the goods. So, but this guy, what an embarrassment. And him, he's been apparently crooked for years. And they're not going to let go. Do you know the mayor of New York, there's 4 investigations, 4 involving him. And I'll tell you else, there's just something about some people that are politically tone deaf. So he held a press conference this morning, and I played some of it earlier. And he doesn't even think enough to go inside to hold his press conference. He does it outside. So as he's outside, there's hecklers that are yelling at him, resign. And one heckler was saying, stop saying it's because you're black. Who thought It would be a good see. It just shows like who thought in his inner circle it would be a good idea to do the press briefing outside where anyone then could yell. Whereas he's the mayor of New York. If he did it inside, then you would have to show press credentials to get in. They could control it. He's like Mckee. Now, George contacted me. George needs to pave his driveway. George wants to pave his driveway. George needs to pave his driveway. George said, who's the company you mentioned and you recommend? I recommend 100% J. Perry Paving. Call them for a free estimate. 401-732-1730. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, free estimate, any project. J. Perry Paving. 401-732-1730. I was just talking about them yesterday with someone. They do fantastic work, whether it's for your driveway or your parking lot. J. Perry Paving. Fantastic. Maybe your thing you're doing in your neighbor. Hey, get a deal on that. And remember, no one's better to veterans. They have a special package for veterans. J. Perry Paving. Wherever you're listening, if you can hear me, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, 401-732-1730, letter J, J. Perry Paving. If you're a veteran, no one's going to offer you a better package than J. Perry Paving. Maybe it's your grandfather. Maybe it's your dad. Maybe it's your son or daughter, or grandma, aunt. J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730. What a story with the mayor of New York. Now, also, I know I shouldn't even mention it. I saw someone's put, the news said that Adams is the first sitting mayor ever indicted. Like, hello, ever hear anybody say? No. That's not what they said. That's not what they said. They said the first sitting mayor of New York indicted. It's not just Mayor Cianci. I mean, there's countless mayors around the country that have run into trouble and been indicted in office. I mean, you had Marion Barrett. I mean, that they didn't say that. And I'm amazed at the people that they're buddy. Again, I know why even mention it? The media gets it wrong. No, the media didn't get it wrong. You heard it wrong. They didn't say first sitting mayor ever indicted. They said the first sitting mayor of New York City indicted. There's a list of mayors that have been indicted. No, that's not what they were saying. The media gets it wrong again. You ever hear a buddy say, yes, we all have, as a matter of fact. But this situation in New York is, and I mentioned this earlier, this guy, I don't, you can't even rationalize. There's 4 federal investigations, and he's supposed to focus on what's going on in New York. Ludicrous. All right, folks, on this Thursday, again, thank you for tuning into the Real News. We have the 2 o'clock news coming up at 2. Yes, we will be doing Road Patrol Live later. Hey, check out the website, dpetro.com. You can read all the news. Again, we will be live later. And thank you for tuning in for the Real News at 1 o'clock.